Mm-hmm. Hello, welcome. We're live now. It's happening. We're so excited to welcome you to our virtual space and our in real life space here at Gallery One. My name is Monica Miller, and we are here in the main, I am in the main gallery of Gallery One, where we have the honor of hosting the exhibit Divine Feminine. Today, Renee Adams and I, say hi, Renee. Welcome three artists from the show: Cindy Lemos, Rosie Saldana, and Esmeralda Vasquez. If you haven't been here before at Gallery One, we are located physically in Ellensburg, Washington, land of the Confederated Tribes and Bands of the Yakima Nation. But you can find us from all over the world, as I'm sure many of you are now, on our YouTube channel, on our Facebook page, on our Instagram account, all at Gallery One Ellensburg. Our goal here at Gallery One is to create community drawn together by art, by fostering a place of welcoming and belonging. So welcome. In addition to showcasing awesome artists such as these three today, we also host community events. We offer classes for all ages, and we have artist studios on the top floor of our building as well. I invite you to learn more by visiting all of those places I mentioned, but also checking out our website at gallery-one.org, and we also welcome you into our physical space. If you are logged into YouTube, if you have a YouTube account, and for those of you who are watching us right now from YouTube, hello, hi. Please say hello if you can. Introduce yourself, tell us where you are, tell us where you're from, and feel free to make comments and ask questions. Renee will be monitoring the YouTube chat, and Esmeralda will be monitoring Instagram to see if anybody checking us out on there has any questions or comments as well. So once we get going, please feel free to engage as you can, and we'll do our best to bring you into the space, into the conversation. Thank you for letting me share a little bit about Gallery One, but now I will turn the mic over to Cindy to share more about the Amazing Mujeres in the show and how it came about.
Hi, you guys. So my name is Cindy Lemos. I am going to share my screen here, so bear with me. Sorry, you guys get to see our little comments. Is it not gonna let me do it? I'm gonna stop share and see if I can get it to work without that. Give me a second. Probably should have tried this before. Yeah, so while we're getting ready and I am pulling this up, I wanted to take the time to kind of give my other two fellow members here a chance to, say their names and introduce themselves as well. So go ahead and unmute yourself if you want.
I'll go. Hello, everyone. I'm Rosie Saldana. I don't know if you want me to say a little bit more than that, but I am an artist. I work for Titan Arts and Humanities. I'm their artistic director. I'm also a full-time student. Yeah, that's just a little short tidbit about me, but Esmeralda, do you want to go?
Yeah, I'll go. Hi, I'm Esmeralda Vasquez. I am an artist up here in Seattle currently. I also do creative work down in Yakima, so I'm lucky to be involved with all of these shows coming up recently, especially this amazing group that I've been a part of, and even going back and forth between Yakima and Seattle. It's been a wonderful experience. So we'll definitely share more about that. I think Cindy's ready, so I'm going to go back to you.
Thank you. I apologize again for that. So I wanted to go ahead. The three of us are going to introduce AM murals a little bit more before we start talking about our own individual work. So this show, Divine Feminine, was produced by and presented to you guys, curated by All Mujeres Murals, which is something that was started just this past year, and it consists of a lot of different things. So I'm gonna move on to the next slide. If it's letting me, here we go. Go ahead, Esmeralda.
Thank you. Yeah, so this started just last year. It's honestly, I would say it's been a work in progress over the last couple of years. I think we could probably agree on that too, just because after the pandemic came, I feel like our creative community down in Yakima got a lot closer and really supportive of each other. So yeah, this group was made just to initially to bring women together to create this unity mural that is in Yakima right now. We busted it out in 3 days, just took a weekend. I mean, I would read this, but I feel like everyone can see that. But yeah, we kind of just based it on unity, obviously, like that was our first big project. Everyone had their own panel, and we had a color palette that we kind of stuck to, and then everyone's different styles came together, and we learned a lot from each other just in that weekend. So I'm really lucky that a lot of us continued to communicate, and this was just the first big thing. So yeah.
Rosie.
Okay, so how did it really all get started? I want to give a shout out to Ashley Cardenas because she was the one that came up with this idea in the first place, and started reaching out to different girls that she thought might be interested. And then also a huge shout out to Collaboration Coffee, because that was kind of like the meeting ground for everything. And they helped coordinate everything that we were planning and hoping to achieve, and then also getting artists together and making those connections. But yeah, so we all just came together to brainstorm. A lot of us girls had never done big murals before, so that was interesting to see who's done them, who hasn't done them, getting feedback, materials, just little things like that. So it was really interesting to gather in a space with different artists of different mediums, different personalities, different styles, and just come up with this pretty awesome mural. But yeah, Collaboration Coffee was definitely the main hub for all of us to get together and prepare and plan. So thank you, Collab and Maddie and Ashley. But yeah, that's just a little bit of how it got started.
Yes, I also want to add that, is that me? I also want to add that a lot of us hadn't met before the start of this mural. So this was really a space where we came together. Ashley set this flyer online, and then Collab shared it, and we met at Collab I believe 3 times, maybe even more. And we sat there, and like Rosie said, we pretty much hashed out a plan for this mural but we didn't know each other. So it was really interesting to just meet new people and realize, hey, there is so many local Yakima Valley local artists that are here, and giving them the opportunity to showcase their art was, I think, a very important part of this journey. And so now what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and give the recognition where it's due to all of these amazing women that have come together and basically created AM murals and made it a thing. Not only the women that worked towards creating the beautiful mural in Yakima, but also the women that are now part of this show, Divine Feminine. Oh, I forgot. This is my slide too. Community. So like I said, we wanted to be able to share our skill sets and basically come together to create something beautiful, as is this wonderful mural that you can find in Yakima and the show that you can now see in Ellensburg up until the end of the month. So here are some of the amazing women.
Yeah, so here's our first slide, and we have Michelle, and she contributed to our Divine Feminine show in Ellensburg right now. We have Vanessa, aka Bashi. She's so dope. Her mural is amazing, and she uses a lot of her own influence in her work. Angel, and then she has pieces in the Divine Feminine show as well. We have Madeline, and she contributed to our Unity mural, and there's a picture of her with her daughter. It's so beautiful. And then we also have Aislinn. She's another local artist in Yakima, and she contributed to our mural as well. So yeah, that's our first group of 5.
Feel free to follow them on Instagram. These here are their Instagram handles if you want to do that. We'd really appreciate it.
So then we have the wonderful, amazing Betsy. She was there and contributed to the mural as well, and she's in the show. She's just a ball of energy, and I absolutely love Betsy. And then we have HR Emmy. She is in the Divine Feminine show as well. Victoria, I believe also in the Divine Feminine, she also worked on the mural with Esmeralda. They collaborated on a piece together, and it was beautiful. It came out wonderful. Carmen, also part of the mural. And Maria, she was also part of the mural, and she's in the Divine Feminine show. But yeah, that's the next one. Instagram's below.
Yes, and then we have Raven, and she helped so much with the mural, along with obviously Ashley, which was who brought us all together and is kind of the head honcho of everything, the boss lady. Then we have Elizabeth, and she contributed in the mural as well as in the show Divine Feminine. Then we have Elena, and she is in the Divine Feminine show. She has a couple pieces, I believe. And then we have Jamaica, and Jamaica was part of the mural. And once again, these are some of these intermeshed because they're really long, but hopefully we can link these at the bottom of the description so that you guys can go and check all of their Instagrams out. They have amazing work.
Okay, and then we have another slide to contribute. There really are so many people that are part of our project, which is amazing. So we have Liz and Samantha. I believe they both contributed to the Divine Feminine show. Amanda, she's an amazing ceramicist and maker in Yakima. She has done so much in the community, and she helped with our mural as well. Her piece is beautiful. We have Leticia, and then we also have Janice. And their handles down below.
All right, another slide of amazing women. So we have Victoria. She's in the Divine Feminine show. Cara also, I believe, in the Divine Feminine show. Kiara, she helped with the mural. I believe she helped Amanda a little bit on her space of the mural. Anna and Maria, again, 2 amazing artists. And I think we have one more slide of women. Am I wrong?
Yes. So this is the final slide. We have Iris. She is based in Seattle. And she actually helped with our second portion. She helped Ashley with our second portion of the mural, which is on the following wall. So we have a wall that's just the unity wall, and it has the different panels, and it has the word unity on top. And then on the following wall, we have it says Al Mujeres murals, and it's this beautiful representation. Her and Ashley whipped it out in very little time, and it looks beautiful. Then we have Jimena and Aldri. They are sisters. They are my cousins. And they are the youngest contributing members of this Divine Feminine show. And then we also have Maddie. Once again, we wanted to make sure and put her on here because she was a great resource for all of this. And once again, a safe haven. So go shop Collaboration Coffee Yakima. Get some art and some coffee while you're there. One of the things that I also want to talk about when it comes to Coffee Yakima is that a lot of these artists that you are seeing right now have work either on exhibit or for sale there. So if you would want to go and get a piece from us or some prints or some stickers or whatever, it's or even just meet us, a lot of times you find some of those artists there. So go and visit Collab. All right, now we're going to do our little intro. Esmeralda's gonna go first.
Okay, I'm first. Yeah, so again, my name's Esmeralda Vasquez. My pronouns are she, her, they. I'm a multidisciplinary artist, currently based up here in Seattle, Latinx, LGBTQ. I go back and forth between Seattle and Yakima because, like I mentioned earlier, I do creative work down there from time to time. Like, for example, the Unity mural. And then actually, like 2 weeks after that last year, I did a mural for the Yakima Housing Authority. It is inside of the gym of their new housing complex. And then my mediums include oil paintings, ink drawings, line work, digital graphics, and murals. So I'm very happy to expand my work into these mediums. It's been a really fun learning experience, especially over the last few years. I put on here that my sources of inspiration revolve around art, music, design, and creative collaboration. So honestly, just getting to work with everyone, especially through this Unity mural. Like, I didn't get a chance to go to any of the meetings, but I try to keep in touch, and I try to make sure that I still have a presence in Yakima and like help out and visit as much as I can. So just being able to be a part of that and still be included in that was really amazing. Just because I learned so much from the other women that we worked with. Everyone has their own skill set and knowledge, and it was really cool just because it would be something like matching and mixing colors, and like everyone's combined knowledge was really fun to work with. So yeah, that was a huge experience for me. But I also like to focus on themes of like symbolism and minimalism in my own work. So I do have more of that on the next slide. Thank you. Yeah, so it's kind of a mix. That was also a project just to put all this together on one slide, because the digital graphics are very colorful, and there is, like I said, like there's a lot of symbolism between those. And so a lot of these just kind of come from how I'm feeling or just my own thoughts. And a couple of them were for themes. So themes of like representation, inclusivity. I like to learn about color theory. So just like the meaning behind each color and like how they work together and how they can activate specific emotions for people. I think that's a really cool thing. So I try to incorporate a lot of that in my work. And then in my line work, I just had a solo show in January at Collab Coffee. And so that was based around fluidity and just how like the movement of water and I guess like the calmness of detail and the line work that I do, like how that makes me feel and how that represents my own identity. So there's definitely layers to a lot of the stuff that I do, but for this piece specifically, this one that's in, thank you. Yeah, this one that's in Divine Feminine, I did want to go into that a little bit more. So there's only 2 oil paintings on here. The one with the hands is actually a Black Lives Matter painting. And so I did that in 2020. And then that equality symbol is like, that was kind of my entrance into the art community in Yakima. It is a mural in a local LGBTQ owned business. And I'm really happy that that's, had a place in Yakima. So I guess total, I have collaborative and on my own, I have 4 murals in Yakima, and it's been really great to kind of build my progress there, especially because that's where I was born and grew up. So yeah, a lot of these themes are really important to me. So anything like with a political agenda or anything that talks about social issues and just topics of like anything that is yeah, I don't know, I kind of lost my thought there, but anyway, the painting for Divine Feminine, there's a lot of symbolism layered in that. So I do seek music as an inspiration. That's really big to me. And so just thinking about the theme of this show, we dropped everything off in February. I finished it in February, and that's Black History Month, and now this is Women's History Month. And so I just wanted to combine those 2 topics. And then on top of that, just mindfulness and strength and beauty. And to me, it's really important because I don't really focus too much on like gender norms. I wanted to show collarbones because I think that's a really beautiful part of the body, and no matter like what your gender is, everyone has those, and you can still see that, and it's not really leaning towards one gender or the other. So like this could be femme presenting, but yeah, I just wanted to be inclusive and mindful of that. I've been trying my best to do that, especially as I grow up and like as my work evolves. So that was one thing. And I also just feel like it shows strength and beauty. But Solange Knowles is the biggest inspiration behind this piece. And she's an artist that I've listened to for a really long time and looked up to. And her music is really beautiful to me. Her lyrics, her voice, her aesthetic, and like her creative vision and everything with that is a huge inspiration. And just her lyrics in general have like really hit me and like stuck with me for a long time. So she has this song called Cranes in the Sky. And she actually did an interview with her sister. Her sister is Beyonce, by the way. So they did an interview together, and she got into like the details of what that song means to her. But I wanted to interpret it in my own way. So I included a few elements. So the paper cranes, the clouds, and even just the colors in general. Like I said earlier, I do a lot of research about the symbolism behind colors. Orange actually represents like balance and harmony, and those are all different hues of orange. So I wanted to make sure like that came across. And then the paper cranes symbolize peace and health and like longevity and balance as well. So I felt like those were pretty harmonious. And then the clouds were just to represent the cranes in the sky. So that was just kind of a nod to that song title. So I'm really happy with it. It is on view at Gallery 1 until the end of the month. And yeah, please check it out. If you have time, it'll be on my Instagram as well. So yeah, that's most of my work. Yeah, it's kind of a range, so it's always evolving.
And go listen to her song, because
All right, I guess it's my turn. So like I mentioned earlier, my name is Rosie Saldana. Yeah, my work, what to say about it? It's kind of crazy sometimes. It's a little bit of in my head, it's kind of chaotic because I am I'm a space filler, and I like to make sure that the whole canvas is filled up with something. But um, most of my inspiration really comes from my family and my culture. With my culture, I didn't, in my opinion, I don't feel like I grew up very traditional. Pretty much nobody in my family really speaks Spanish, and so I never learned that. So just having those like divides between kind of who am I and where do I come from. I like to explore that in my artwork and try to get closer to my culture or explore my culture a little bit more. So I will add elements of like the Hispanic, Latino culture. Um, I also find a lot of inspiration in, I guess, myself, just the daily things that I'm going through. If it's daily struggles, any hopes or passions in my life, that's kind of like what I try to put in my artwork. Because I mean, essentially, artwork for me is an outlet. So if I'm dealing with something, it helps to create a piece and express what's going on in my life. Or sometimes when I'm going through something good or bad, just like images will pop up in my head, and then I try to transfer them onto a canvas to kind of tell that story, maybe just to myself to kind of to figure out what's going on with me a little bit more, but also, to share with people and people that like my artwork. I also get a lot of inspiration from my mom. She is a huge inspiration in my life, not only with what's going on in her life, but just the amazing mom she is. She really is my hero, and everything that I do, I kind of always reflect back to her. I also am very passionate about art history, so you'll see a lot of art historical representations in my artwork, different iconography, different representations of art historical pieces. Sometimes I'll do my own renditions of like a Michelangelo piece or um, Leonardo, whatever. So when I do those, I try to bring that representation of my culture into those pieces. So it's something fun for me. I like to see things in a different way that might convey a different meaning for some people. Um, I also find a lot of inspiration from, like I said, my culture, but also kind of how I grew up. I am more, I guess you can say, I lean more towards the Chicano culture. So a lot of that style of artwork I try to put into my work. I grew up in lowrider culture, always with my dad, showing off his cars and stuff. So a lot of that kind of comes back into my artwork. Um, but yeah, and on the next slide, I have a mess of all my work that you can see. So this is just some of the pieces I've created over the years. But yeah, like I said, a lot of them are really busy. A big symbol in my artwork is roses, if you hadn't noticed. For some reason, there has to be a rose in almost every single piece that I do. Not only is my name Rosie, so I think that's kind of like a reason why it's kind of like my symbol, my logo, but the rose has kind of always been the symbol of my family. I was named after my grandfather. His name was Rosendo, but everybody called him Rosie. So that was kind of like a thing in my family. My mom's favorite flower is a rose. So roses have just always been around my life. So I think that's why I put them in my artwork, because I was always used to seeing them. Like my mom would have roses in the house, or just hearing Rosie, Rosie with my grandpa or me, like it was just constantly in my life. So I think that's why they pop up in everything that I do. Um, and also, I kind of lost my train of thought too. Like I said, I just bring different cultural elements into my work. And again, going with different themes, like for example, the piece at the bottom with the butterflies, that was for a show on essential workers. So um, just involving people in my life. That's my stepdad. So just how hard he worked, during the pandemic, and just the beautifulness of what our people and our culture contribute to this community. And yeah, so just different themes, different, again, historical references. The Venus at the bottom, that's a historical reference through my own twist on it. I like to bring in Day of the Dead culture into a lot of my work as well. It's, again, I feel like it's a way for me to become closer to that culture and experience these things. So that's why the skeleton is also like a big symbol of my artwork. But yeah, that's just a little of what I've done. The two pieces to my left, I don't know if it's my left or your right, the blue one, that one is in the Divine Feminine show, as well as the one next to it. That one is in there as well. These two pieces were a little personal for me, so I'm not sure how much detail I'll go into them because I might start crying, but yeah, they're both pretty personal pieces, but I wanted to do something for this show that was a little deeper. When you think of, I think when a lot of people think of feminine, they think of the beautiful side of it. And sometimes women are going through, sorry, I'm okay. They go through difficult things. So showing the beauty behind those things, sorry. But other than that, that's it. I think Cindy can go now.
Love you. Take a deep breath. All right, y'all. So my name is Cindy Lemos, and my pronouns are she, her. I am a Latinx from the Yakima Lower Valley, and I was born and raised in the little town called Toppenish. And I am an art educator and multidisciplinary artist. I emphasize a lot on acrylic and watercolor painting, which I think is hilarious because I've always loved acrylic, but watercolor I used to hate, like before the pandemic. And I actually took a course and I loved it. So I like to do that now. Also, I am a first generation Mexican American. Like I said, I was born and raised in Toppenish, Washington. My roots are in Michoacan, Mexico. Both my parents were born and raised in Michoacan, and we go there often. Thankfully, we have that luxury. And a lot of my inspiration is inspired and taken from my daily life. Sometimes it's my mesh between being American and being Mexican, and that in betweenness. A lot of it is also taken from popular culture, but mostly it comes from Mexican history, the history of the land. I love to learn new things, my friends and my family, and art history in general, but also iconography. Things have to mean something to me in order for them to ideally reach the canvas. So a lot of thought goes into the things that we make. That I make, like a lot of other people, like Rosie and Esmeralda both. So these are just a couple of the pieces. I actually did not include a photo of the pieces that I included in the show, just because I want you to go see them. So I, like Rosie, have similar styles, and where we include a lot of those skeletons for Dia de los Muertos. And my personal reason for including that is I see these skeletons and I represent them a little bit different than other people do, with always having them with the blue skin tone. And then also I always include their lips, their ears, and their hair, just because when I paint, I hardly ever actually do human portraits. I don't enjoy it as much. I like to do these skeletons, but another reason why I make them the way that I do is because I want to be able to represent people, both the living and the dead, and they just represent people to me. So I like to include a lot of, similar to Rosie, old art, and do like my own rendition on them. my own Mexican touch to it. And so a lot of the things that you see on here are thought out. I love Mexican traditional and indigenous attire and culture, so I like to learn a lot of that. And yeah, I also draw a lot of inspiration from Michoacan. Like I said, both my parents were born and raised in Michoacan, and I think it is absolutely gorgeous. I enjoy my trips there, and also their indigenous culture are the purépechas. And even though my family wasn't necessarily raised with those traditions, I think that it's nice to, go back and give those people these indigenous cultures and their traditions and things that they like wear and the traditions that they do, shine a light on them, because that's how we continue to make things live and grow. And so yes, but I also do funky things like this where it's like more, I love comic book strips. And so I was one of those kids that I love to read, but I also would love comic book aesthetics and looking at pictures. So this is kind of like my take on, hey, like here's like a vintagey thing, but we're gonna make it more modern. When it comes to portraits themselves, I hardly ever do them, but when I do, it has to mean a lot to me or else I won't do it. So these two are actually Jimena and Adriana, and these were created for a solo show that I did at Collab. And they both are the artists that I have worked with in Gallery One. I wanted to be able to give them a space to encourage them to be, to know that they're important and who they are, regardless of how small they are, is important and a great contribution to the world. And so my little Jime is in 2nd grade, and then Audrey is a kindergartner. So I know that they look up to me because I'm older than them, and I love being around them, and they bring so much happiness to my life. Obviously, I'm not their mom or their aunt, but it feels like it sometimes. So yeah, I definitely wanted to make something about them and just show their beauty because they are absolutely stunning. And then this here is a self-portrait that I did with Frida Kahlo's Dos Fridas in mind. So once again, like my take on it. In the show, I have another piece that I kind of want to touch bases on. It's not obviously on the slide, but it's my solo piece, and it is a piece of a beautiful lady, which is my mother. And my mom is in a wheelchair, and her favorite flowers are poppies. And so I wanted to be able to showcase her because she is literally the most important person in my life. And she is an inspiring woman. So when the idea of divine feminine came up as the theme for the show, I kept coming back and I was like, oh, I should do my mom. Oh my God, I should do my mom. Once again, I hate doing portraits. So I was like, oh, that's so much pressure. I don't want to like try to paint her and then like butcher it, or, we want to do justice to the people that are important to us. And so I'm really happy that I did it. I tried new techniques too. So there's a lot of layering, and it's in a shadow box, and it was something that was new for me. But yeah, she definitely is. She's just amazing. If you ever get to meet her, you're lucky. Doña Gloria, I love you. And so, yeah, go check out the show. This is, that's all about my art in specific. But also not only check out the show in Ellensburg, but we also want to encourage you guys to, connect with us on Instagram. Ashley has been doing an amazing job at showcasing individual artists' work on there. So it's also a nice place where you can go in and take a look at all the artists that have gone through and helped with AM murals in general, whether it be the mural or Divine Feminine. So if you would like to connect with us, if you go to AM Murals on Instagram, you can find us and, you know, find other artists as well. But yeah, that's it for me so far. If Renee or Monica want to take it on, go ahead.
I actually had a quick question about the mural. I was wondering where the funding came from, because I know paint is not cheap. And also, how did you coordinate so many artists working on one thing together? If you want to speak to that.
Yeah, so what ended up happening was Collaboration Coffee was already helping us with some of the funding, but we actually got sponsors for the mural themselves, and the wall had already been kind of donated to us. It's behind the Dollar Stretcher in Yakima, West Lincoln Avenue, correct, ladies?
I thought it was South Lincoln Ave.
I don't know.
Lincoln Ave. It's like by the
Tom Lincoln. That's all we know.
Tom Lincoln.
Yeah. Well, the owner was nice enough to have that conversation with Ashley and say, hey, I think Ashley went in and actually asked him if, you know, how about that wall in the back of your of your store? And he was like, yeah, go ahead. You know, sometimes a lot of these places are looking for something that's going to take up the space and avoid tagging. And so it's a beautiful way to not only showcase artwork, but, you know, make something look nicer. And so he was nice enough to lend us the wall. And then we went around with Ashley and asked for sponsors. There was also a couple artists that reached out to different places. And luckily we had many establishments that were willing to donate their precious and so much needed money for this event. And we actually went in and painted their logo as part of that wall. So if you go and look at the wall, you can see our sponsors. And not only that, but people were amazing in the community. Like, we got a lift. We didn't pay for it. It was like, hey, you guys can, a scissor lift, like, you know, we can let you borrow it. And, you know, just members of the community that want to make it look better and want to uplift, like I said, artists. So we're really thankful that, you know, the people in the community also did their part. So shout out to them. But yeah, that's basically how we did it, door to door.
Well, I wanted to mention a couple of things that Ash is here watching and commenting live on YouTube, which is cool. She's giving Rosie hugs and making other comments. So you'll be able to go back and watch this and see how Ash and Cara May and others have made comments, and Ash shared the handle for the Instagram account, and there's somebody, EMI. It's cool to know, you know, who's here and who's supporting you. And on that note, I was curious when you started talking initially about the how the mural came about and the role that Collaboration Coffee played in it. I was wondering, you know, as you know, we're a place here at Gallery One in Ellensburg, and always trying to think about how, you know, we can foster these kinds of collaborations, because it's just incredible what came out of it. And I wondered if you could share what, and also with your experience, Rosie, you know, in Tieton or other spaces that you've been a part of, like what are the qualities that a space and a place should strive to have in order to foster this kind of, collaboration and community.
Rosie, I'm gonna let you take that one.
Okay, yeah. Honestly, I just feel like it's all about representation. Representation matters, and feeling comfortable in a space. Maddie does a really great job of making collab feel as a space that's yours and that you're welcome, and no matter what you represent or whatever, you are safe in that space. So I think that's really important when thinking about collaboration and projects and bringing people in. Personally, with me, I mean, I put on the big Day of the Dead exhibition and different exhibitions, but having that representation in a space where your artwork will be seen and appreciated, it's really important. So yeah, and I mean, having that diversity too with staff always, in my opinion, is a comfort as well. Just talking from experience, I mean, I would feel more comfortable showing my work and being a part of something where I can see people that look like me, versus going to a space I kind of don't feel as welcome. And sometimes we do get those looks. So that's kind of hard to deal with when you're trying to showcase your artwork in different spaces and different communities, because you're always looking for that hub of, okay, where are my people? Who's going to appreciate my work and who's going to understand what I'm trying to say? So yeah, I just think that's a big thing, is representation, diversity, that really helps to make others feel comfortable and want to contribute to your goals and what you hope to achieve.
Yeah, and this is actually a conversation that Rosie and I have had many times, just because it is something that, and I actually had this conversation with Esmeralda and with Maddie last weekend, of how it's just trying to find a way to make space for the people that represent your community is important. Especially here, like in the local, in the Valley. Buck, which is Maddie's partner, had also mentioned how, like, even just going to like a winery or going to somewhere where you're not necessarily the person that you're used to seeing there, and how it's intimidating to go into these spaces and just kind of be like, oh, I'm gonna grab a cup of wine and not look that funny. And it sounds ridiculous, but that's the truth that we live in. I don't have as much discrimination because of the color of my skin. And I know that's something that I live with, and that's a privilege that I have over somebody that has darker melatonin in their body, like Rosie or Esmeralda. And so, but I still get looked at funny because I'm very paisa. Like I said, I'm a paisana. I speak Spanish like intertwined with Spanish was my first language. Like that's how I was raised and how I grew up. But it is very important to have people that welcome you and don't look at you funny, because even if you do welcome me but you're looking at me weird, then I'm not going to feel comfortable, And so just I think a lot of these first gen or second generation Mexican Americans, or just in general, like minorities, are claiming their space in society. And I think that it's very empowering and it's needed, but it is hard. It's hard to be like, hey, I'm going to go drink like I said before, I'm going to go drink some wine and not care if anybody looks at me funny, And so having somebody, like Rosie said, that is welcoming and genuine is important. And I think that's one of the nice things that we have with Maddie. And I told her that, I'm like, Maddie, I love you so much, and thank you for just being genuine. And I don't feel like you're looking down on me. I don't feel like you're thinking, oh, my art is not up to par with your expectations, or my art is not fine work because of who I am, you know? And so I don't know if anybody wants to add more to that, but I can go on and on and on. Like I said, we've had these conversations plenty of times, but representation is important. So that's one of the things that.
I'll add to that actually. I'll like build off of what both of you guys just said. Like, because you mentioned, I do like remember all of these conversations. I've just been telling like so many people how great that was. Like me, you, and Maddie and Buck had like such a good few hours just kind of getting caught up in this. But it is important to talk about, you know. I think it starts there too. Like you just acknowledge the privilege that you have experienced before. So like even that is a step. And I think it bases off of like looking at you, like at yourself first, and like it starts within you. So I mean, if everybody had that kind of outlook, like imagine what we could be, because it really matters to not necessarily just be judgment free, but like actually working to be inclusive. And that's something that I'm kind of experiencing right now too. I work for a nonprofit organization called Urban Artworks up here in Seattle. And what they do is they work to bring youth in the community to engage them into art. And so that could be public art or just creating on their own. And so right now I'm in a mentorship program. So I'm a mentor for a kid who uses they, them pronouns. And I believe that's new. And so it's something to consider, you know, and that's I believe they're 17, but like that's such a delicate age because I remember being there. And what we're doing is just kind of working to build up their confidence and their creativity. And so my first meeting was just trying to get to know them and their artwork and like their background. But it's important to consider like where you stand with yourself first, and then understand like your impact. Because I think Maddie definitely does that, you know, and she's always an inspiration for us and like always someone we can go to. So to have that kind of person in the community who is judgment-free and inclusive and representational, like it's amazing. And I think Yakima has always needed something like that.
Yeah, and she knows that she is privileged, but she helps bring everybody, like giving them space for that is important. So that's one of the things that I think the three of us are kind of also working with. I mean, Esmeralda is over there with the youth, and she's, you know, trying to make sure that these kids know how important they are, regardless of how different they may be. And that's something that's uplifting and something that's needed. And Rosie and Titan is opening doors to people of color to be able to, you know, have their artwork in high places, and in a place like Titan that I don't think has really seen that in previous years, and just showcasing and telling people and letting people know, hey, I'm opening the door for you. Come in. You're welcome. You're welcome to come in, and you are important. Even though you're different, you're important. And so I don't know. I think it does very much start at a young age. And so I don't know. Diversity and representation is important. And I think that's something that we're working on here in the Yakima Valley, and, you know, hopefully it extends, and, you know, it's nice. Like, we especially are very thankful for you guys for giving us space in Gallery 1. If you would have told me 5 years ago if I thought that I would ever have show like a, you know, work in Gallery 1, I would have said no, you know. So we're really grateful that you're giving us the space and you opened the door for us. Both of you have been very welcoming, and so we appreciate it.
Thank you. On that note, you'll see that just the space, that there are people in here checking it out. I love it. And your piece is right here, the piece that you...
That's my mama.
reference. It's such a beautiful piece. So I want to invite people to come in and see it in person. But Renee, I was wondering maybe you could, because one of the things Renee does is put a 360 tour on our page. So maybe Renee, you could find that and link to it in the YouTube chat, so people watching can, if you can't make it here in person while the show is up, you'd be able to at least see it in that way. But one other thing that I was thinking about, and for this the same conversation, is what role, when we think about places, like you guys are so good at Instagram. Like, what role has Instagram or social media in general? I mean, maybe you guys are also on TikTok, or, you know, what social media channels do you use, and what role has it played in fostering this collaboration and also addressing, you know, these issues of privilege and access as well?
Okay, I'll go. I feel like they were looking at me, so I'll just go. Yeah, I think Instagram is definitely a really good tool. It's very user friendly. I mean, I don't know how it is because I have my account like set to professional, I think, or like a business account, but you can like see your insights and check, just check things that help you, like when to post and things like that. So like we have multiple groups, especially for all of these projects. And like for the mural, for this show, it's been easy to reach people that way. And I don't know, I try to keep updated with Instagram, especially. I personally don't have TikTok still. I've never used it. I'm good. But yeah, I think Instagram is probably the main thing, just for me, and it's been helpful. I've gotten used to, like, when I go to art shows up here, because there's this thing called First Thursday, so you kind of just bop around the city, and there's some galleries that are free, so you can just meet a lot of people that way, and it's really just easy to exchange Instagrams, and so typically people keep up with that, and you know, it's not as personal as like a Snapchat or just exchanging numbers or Twitter and things like that. So Instagram is my favorite. Go ahead.
It's almost like a personal business like profile. Like, hey, my name is Cindy and I go by Catrina Azul, and you can go and check out my work here. Go look at it, see if you like it. If you don't, that's fine. I don't care. But you know, it's just, it's nice. It's a nice way to communicate with people. And you know, when I first started with my Instagram, it was more like, I have like 4 accounts, but that's because I'm a teacher. So I have the one for my kids at work, and then I have one for myself, and then I have my art page. And I was really hesitant to do an art page because I was like, well, I don't make art enough to, like, you know, post any. This was in 2020. This is how long it's been. It feels like yesterday, but it's not. And it was actually, Maddie was like, you should do your own, you know, and I was like, okay, well, I guess we'll do that. And so but I've met so many people through Instagram. There's people that I knew on Instagram before I met them in person. I think Esmeralda is one of them.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that today. Yeah.
Yeah, I met her through there, and then like you'll randomly see them. Oh my God, are you that one person? Because I think I met Esmeralda at the Black Lives Matter Chalk Festival.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
I saw my sticker on your laptop or like your water bottle, and I was like, hey, that's me.
Yeah.
I think I know who you are. Yeah, it's also
it's
very
kind of awkward at first, but it's nice because, you know, like, let's say that I can have a conversation with somebody in like Arkansas or like in Arizona or just somewhere in the other side of the world. I mean, that's what internet is for, right? So you might as well use it to your advantage. And it's nice to like get inspiration from other people or say, hey, let's collab on something, or just anything in general. I think that's how we mainly use Instagram. And I know that all of these conversations were done through Instagram, especially for the, you know, the mural and for this. A lot of the women that are in the Divine Feminine show, I don't know in person. I only know them through Instagram. So yeah, it's definitely a tool that if you use it wisely, it has so many benefits. Like Esmeralda stated before, like you can even see who, okay, she mentioned when is the proper time to post. Like you'll see when there's more people online and when you'll get more like traction. But not only that, also like who is mainly viewing your work and how far is the reach that your work is, the traction that it's getting. So I can see, oh, I have most of my followers are from the Yakima Valley, but I also have people from Seattle, or I have people from a different state, and the demographics are like 75% female and 25% male, or whatever that may be. But it's, I mean, especially if you're trying to reach a specific audience, I think it's also very helpful. But I definitely recommend Reels. They are the new thing on Instagram. It takes a lot of clicking around and whatever, but it pays off. I mean, especially I think as a gallery, you guys, you have an amazing space, and so why not showcase that? You do amazing things too, like your classes, and then the space that you have up ahead, like up above, where you teach classes for the kids, and all of that stuff is something that you wouldn't generally know unless you go on the website, right? So, sometimes an image is worth so many words. So yeah, I don't know if I said that right. I translated it in Spanish in my head. Rosie, do you have anything to say about that?
I think you guys said most of it. But yeah, just kind of piggybacking off of what you guys said. I primarily use Instagram. It's easy for me. I'm old. I'm not into the TikTok or anything like that. I hardly use Facebook for my art stuff. But I also feel like Instagram is another creative outlet. Again, with the reels, like Cindy mentioned, it's a way for you to express yourself in another art form. So I've really liked creating reels and just kind of showing people processes of artwork too. That's really nice, and people really like seeing that. I mean, I know I've gotten a lot of questions like, how do you do that? Or how long does that take you? And so I think it's really cool to showcase those steps and those processes you take as an artist. And I think that in general just is attracting to people. And yeah, so I just feel like Instagram is a really good tool to use for artists, and it's just another way to express yourself as an artist and show your work. But yeah, I agree with both of what they said. So yeah.
Well, Instagram is how we found y'all, through the Alma Harris murals. So yeah, it works. It's awesome. So glad to be connected with you via that channel and in real life too. I wanted to give a shout out to, I like to bring people in this space when I can. Michelle 48 says, you ladies rep modern day Yakima Valley with such grace and love of community. It's a true honor to join forces. And Maria Rueda says, breaking barriers and labels. And Ash said, AM Murals was started to create sisterhood and opportunity through unity, support, respect, and a safe place to create and uplift one another. It's been awesome hearing from you, and thank you so much for sharing your artwork, but also your process. And I thought it was gorgeous how you honored all of the artists in this show too at the beginning. So thank you for bringing them in here into this space. There's the virtual and in real life. There's 1 week to see the show. So if you're watching this before next Saturday, I hope that you will take time to learn about these artists and the exhibit. To close, because we talked about doing this for an hour, so I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but I thought it would be nice to hear, because you've referenced the other work that you do in your lives. So I'd love to just hear a little bit more about Miss Lemos, what you changed your name before, like, who was the teacher, and Rosie and Esmeralda, like, how, what else you do, and then also what is your next project. So maybe you could go around and share that, and then we'll bring it to a close.
I think she's pointing at me. I'm not sure. Yeah, I can start. Like I said, I work for a nonprofit, Titan Arts and Humanities. I started there as an intern after I got my bachelor's at Heritage University, and they asked me to stay because they kind of liked me. So I'm here in Titan. I am now their artistic director. So I help put on all of their gallery shows, which includes 10 by 10, Day of the Dead, student art show, any other shows that we pop in throughout the years. So yeah, I help with the installation, de-installation, a little bit of curating here and there. I also do curating for Okalo Gallery in Yakima. So I find artists for their gallery, and help promote their stuff on social media as well. What else do I do? I can't remember what I do actually. I'm a full-time graduate student. I'm working on my master's in museum studies. So that's exciting. I'm doing that. And what was the second part of that? What are you?
Your next artist project.
Yes. Next artist project. So definitely producing artwork for a show in August. Actually, me and Miss Lemos, Cindy, are doing a collab show at Collaboration Coffee. So that's exciting. It will be in August. So I have to create stuff for that, and I will admit I haven't started anything. So so that's definitely on my list to create work for that show that is coming up. Other than that, just creating work where I can as well in between that time, and focusing on school. That's kind of my main focus right now. But yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Okay. Wow, that's amazing. I did not know about you guys' collab show. I'm very excited. Wow. Also, they collaborated, well, kind of like you guys made your piece for the mural like cohesive. It was so beautiful. I hope you get the chance to go see it. It's really a beautiful mural, but their styles just work so well together. So that's about you guys. But for me, well, I've only lived back in Seattle since 2020, like in the summer. So I moved during the first year of the pandemic. And so I mean, my goal has always just been to be a part of this art community up here, just because growing up in Yakima, and then I also grew up in Oregon because I graduated high school down there. Just like the lack of diversity in Oregon, and then in contrast, like the culture that's in Yakima, I was always kind of missing that. And I knew that I wanted to just pursue an artistic path. And so Seattle has always been the place for me. So to finally make it up here, it has definitely come with like a lot of ups and downs, but it's not a linear path. And so I have just been trying to do a lot of projects up here, and I had my first Seattle show last month. So that was pretty big for me. I had a group show with, I believe it was 16 other Seattle artists, a couple like just from across the country too, but it was really cool to be a part of that, especially for my first one. So I feel like I'm getting somewhere. And I started with the nonprofit last summer. I had my interview with them, and I really liked what they were aiming to do in this community. And so, like I mentioned earlier, a lot of my work, it does revolve around community and collaboration and representation. And so like a couple years ago when I was still living in Yakima, and I did the equality mural, that was I feel like it still is just a really big movement towards just how times are changing, you know, and how the creative community and in general, like the world, how we're changing. And so we're kind of evolving, and I just wanted to make something that was more of a statement. And so it's still up, and it reflects who I am, and it's been reflected across a lot of people. So it's something that I was very happy to design and share and continue sharing. And so during Pride Month, I planned stuff for that, but yeah, this nonprofit that I've been working with, like I said, like they work with the community and they bring in youth. And so that's just really important to me, to have those values and like continue to incorporate that in my work and then just in my life in general, just because at the core of it all, I just really want to be a better person. And so if I can intertwine that with my art and the way that I live my life and also teach and learn, it's always a work in progress. And so that's what I've been trying to be up to. And then my next project, well, it's kind of like in between right now. I'm waiting to hear back from something. And then we have this show going on right now, but I'm in the mentorship program with Urban Artworks. And then next month, I'll actually be doing a mural paint day for a middle school. So we're gonna do like a collaborative mural with a bunch of students at the middle school. And I'm going to be a teacher, teaching artist assistant with another one of my teaching artists at the organization. So we'll be doing more work like in school programs and just kind of incorporating art in schools, which is really important to me too. So yeah.
Can you tell them where to find your artwork right now in Seattle?
Well, nothing is like up for sure, because the feels, that Seattle show was just one night only.
Oh.
But yeah, so that was a huge party. But yeah, Urban Artworks has stuff all over the city. And then all that I've helped with so far is just in school programs and in school murals. So yeah, not really a designated spot yet, but I'm working on it.
But you can see her murals all over the place in Yakima too. So
yeah, Yakima's always there. I'm excited to be part of that.
Awesome. I guess it's my turn. Well, I'm a teacher, so my life revolves around that. I teach elementary art to about like 450, 500 kids. Grades were due yesterday and I was panicking, but you know, I'm used to being stressed out. Other than that, I surprisingly don't have too much going on, which is weird. I mean, I was helping out with getting stuff to the gallery with this and making sure people were turning their stuff in and all that good stuff. But other than that, yeah, that's kind of weird. I don't really have anything going on. You know, taking care of my 6 cats. But yeah, we do have that show with Rosie coming up in the summer. And I have been working on those kind of. It's very inconsistent, but let me tell you that show is gonna be really nice. So you're not gonna want to miss it at Collab, because Rosie is amazing and I feel really lucky that I get to exhibit work next to her. And we do very much, like Esmeralda said, have very similar styles, and our inspiration comes a lot from similar things. So you'll see a lot of skeletons. Just gonna throw that out there. And art history. So yeah, that's all I got going on over here.
Well, thank you, ladies, for sharing yourselves with us and the community at large. let's see, we had a couple new comments. Leticia Mendoza Majedo says, keep up the amazing work, ladies. You all are an inspiration to many. And Ash said, thanks for sharing, Esme. Is that your nickname? Let's bring art back to schools. Yay. Agree. So with that, I think we'll close our time. I hope this is just like the beginning of conversations, but I know between you ladies, but hopefully between us and others who were able to tune in today and see the show. I also want to thank everyone who joined us and our sponsors for this exhibit, Cornerstone Pie, D&M Coffee, and Jamie Gutierrez from Northwest Barber Shop. So we're super grateful to have their support for the show and our community's support, both here and beyond. So thank you everyone for everything that you do to keep, to build collaboration and community through your artwork.